Welcome to one more edition of Politics and Red. I'm Egberto, Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We're going to have a great show for you today, my dear brothers and sisters. Welcome aboard. In the house with us thus far, we've got El Señor Miguel Rudnin. Michael Rudnin is in the house. We also have Paul Fleming from Atlanta, Georgia. Michael Rudnin is from Brooklyn, New York. We have Yvette Avery Herod from Atlanta, Georgia, La Preciosa. Eric Hayes from Atlanta. Eric Hayes from Atascocita, Kingwood. And we have Paul Fleming from Atlanta, Georgia. Robert Davenport from California. Can't remember the city. Help me out, Davenport. Help me out, Davenport. The city, I think it is. I don't think it's Long Beach. Bruce Pollard from Kingwood, Texas. We have Melanie Keelan from Barcelona, Spain. Lee Grant from Montgomery County. Thank you very much. I got it. Anyway, folks, we're going to have a great show for you today. How's everybody doing? I trust all are doing fine right now. Okay, let's see what people are saying. Eric Hayes says, food for thought. Israel is not listening to Mr. B's. Don't and hit Iran with precision in Iran deep into the country. V's Iran just sent tons and hits nothing. What is the next move? Mr. B has nothing to add or do on foreign scale. All right. Let's go ahead and teach our good brother Eric Hayes something about the military drones and this sort of stuff, right? Number one, Iran targeted all those 300-something drones to pretty much hit military installations to minimize any casualties on the ground. It was more a show. It was more a destabilizing act, and that people everybody's running and say, "Oh, Iran somehow should be embarrassed because of what happened," right? And but do remember that it started when Israel blew up or killed an Iranian general. But let's go ahead and talk techniques now. Iran did what they needed to do to Israel. They made it clear to Israel that we could maneuver deep inside of Israel, that we could stay in Iran. Notice they didn't ask Hezbollah to do it. They didn't ask Hamas to do it. What they did is they did it from their own land. It's called deterrence, mutual assured destruction, But the other thing that was important, assuming that Israel didn't listen to Biden, let me explain again. Actually, this is the one time that Israel listened to Biden. They did exactly what Iran told them to do. We all knew that Israel had to retaliate, right? Why did they have to retaliate? Not for international reasons. Everybody knows Israel has the manpower, the equipment to get to Iran, and that even if they didn't have it, the United States would do it for them. This was to appease the Israeli population. Every response that they believe they have to respond. Netanyahu then did what he was supposed to do. Made sure to hit Iran in a manner that didn't affect them, and then keep quiet about it. Don't go out there and says, yes, we did it. In effect, the ones that really backed down is Israel. But hear me, let's get something immediately here. If Iran wanted war, there were not enough systems to protect Israel. If they really unleashed their bombs and drones all at once on Iran. That is the thing that makes me crazy about people out there who don't understand, first of all, war, the evil of war, yes, but also understand the technical capabilities of what Israel has and what Iran has. I'm going to go out on a limb. Israel knows something about Iran that very few people know. Everybody's waiting for Iran to have, according to the rules, Iran in 1 week to 10 days, they can have enough uranium to complete the bomb. If you don't believe that Iran already has the bomb, you're dreaming. If you don't believe that Iran already has a nuclear bomb, you're dreaming. And if you don't think Israel already knows that, you're dreaming. The reason why this stuff went into a whimper was that mutual assured destruction. During this Hamas massacre, during this Hamas genocide, as well as the West Bank massacres that's occurring right now, the one thing that is true is that if you take a look of what's going on right now, is that Israel is in a very precarious position. You know, America can speak loud and have a big stick, and America can always hold on to Israel. But the one thing Israel doesn't know, what happens if the people who are tired of Israel thumbing their nose at the United States decide to take cause and the president listen. They don't know that. And henceforth, why we actually got just a blip out of the results from last night. Again, a lesson for you, Hayes, in understanding international policy and diplomacy. Paul Fleming says, raising wages, boosting worker power, taking on big monopolies, expanding Social Security, guarantee the right to an abortion. The plans are popular and Democrats are running on them in 2024. It's called the Progressive Agenda. And you know what? That's what I printed yesterday. I actually had that in my show on KPFT. I didn't cover it, but it is in the newsletter for the show. Paul Fleming says, Senator Ossoff, no one takes seriously lectures on border security from Senate Republicans. Blocking debate on the bipartisan security bill for Trump was one of the most stunning acts of political cowardice in recent history. Marsha Blackburn, Senator Haggerty, listen, guys, we all know that. It's just for them to figure it out themselves. Robert Davenport says, greetings to progressives. Greetings, my brother Davenport. Michael Radin says, Paul, we progressives always have to push Democrats to actually follow through with those promises, while Republicans actively try to deny and regress all such efforts, which is an absolute statement of truth. Now, here's another thing, right? And that is why I said, in as much as I'm not a fan of Biden, I think he deserves re-election because he listened to Pramila Jayapal. He listened to AOC. He listened to he listened to Bowden. He listened to give me another progressive, Ro Khanna. He listened to our progressive stalwarts and a lot of the policies that they suggested, that they pushed, he actually got through. Policies that not even President Obama, the closest president to a progressive, I mean, he wasn't a progressive, he was a progressive before he got to the presidency. But again, the president and the presidency are two different things. Melanie Keelan says, good afternoon. Lee Grant in the house as well. Michael Ruddin says, Paul, imagine how Democrats give Republicans everything they want to the southern border and Republicans say no. That the issue and fear around the issue is more important than solving any problems that rise up. Just be clear. There is no mass refugees crisis on the southern border. That's just Republicans ginning up fear as they do. Exactly. Eric Hayes says Iran should be embarrassed. I see nothing for them to be embarrassed for at all. But again, that's a narrative that your people teach you to put out there, the right-wing misinformation machine. So go with it. Run with it. Paul Fleming says lawsuits by members of Congress and police officers against Donald Trump for his actions on January 6th may advance despite the related criminal case against him in Washington, a federal judge ruled Thursday. Important. Bridge MCP is in the house. And Eric Hayes says Iran sympathizers. Look, let me be clear. I'm not an Iran sympathizer or an Israeli sympathizer. I just don't have anything against Iran. Iran has not done anything to me per se. I know a lot of people say Iran is a terrorist state. Okay. I want folks in America to tell me, why do we expend so much money, so many bombs to attack Iran? Do you know of anybody related to you that Iran damaged? I want you to think about these things. Iran takes out the interests of many corporations that have done what to them again? Go back to 1953. So no, I'm not going to sit down here and hate Iran and hate Israel and hate Palestine. No, not at all. I love human beings, all of them. Iranians, Israelis, Palestinians, all of them, I love them. Their governments, I don't care about. I don't care about these things. Understand the concept. Many of you are dreaming. Raddin says, Egberto, when Iran launched 300 slow-moving drones and missiles, my first thought was that they wanted all those things shut down en route. Of course they did. You nailed it. You nailed it. During the attack, I came on and I said they weren't interested in doing any bunch of damage at all. It was just, and you know what? They probably sent out all their old drones, the ones that they needed to get out of stock. Also, I think that Iran will have the bomb in just a few years, but they don't have it yet. And that Trump taking us out of the Iran deal sped up that nuclear bomb. Look, I saw on mainstream media yesterday, right after Ali Velshi, and Ali Velshi is one of the few correspondents who cover international news that I trust. Ali Velshi pointed out that his studies have shown that Israel is about 7 to 10 days away from having enough fissile uranium to make a bomb. If it is advertised that they are 7 to 10 days away, that tells me, and I'm just speculating, but I will speculate on this one, that in some mountain somewhere in Iran, there are centrifuges running that has them with enough nuclear fissile material. I don't know that for a fact. And when I don't know something for a fact, I put it out there. But I think it would be naive on the part of the United States and Israel to believe that a country capable of making the bomb has not yet done so without one knowing. Brazil has the bomb. Nobody talks about it. Well, of course, North Korea wants you to know they have the bomb for deterrent reasons. But there are a lot of countries who already have the bomb. And America knows it. We just don't talk about it. All right, let's see who else. What else we got here? Melanie Keelan says, mutually assured destruction sounds like the Cold War of my childhood. Yep. MADD. Yep. MAD is what it used to be called, right? MAD. All right. Eric Hayes says, prayer, American Idol alum, gospel singer, Madisa, it's dead at 47. Wow, that's terrible. But I don't know. I didn't follow American Eagle. Oh my God, what happened to her? In an active. Oh wow, I just saw. I hadn't heard of her. Eric, that's sad. Paul Fleming says Biden proves that you can teach an old dog a new trick. Yep. Melanie Keelan says no rain here, unfortunately. Let's continue moving down. Davenport is bringing in folks. Let's see. Rest in peace, Dickie Betts, the guitarist. Great pieces. Egberto, warmongers always think that military incompetence is worth being embarrassed about. I know, it's amazing, right? People who claim that they're evangelicals or believe in the sanctity of life somehow always want to talk war. I find it ironic, but what can I say? All right, Michael Randall also say, I think that Iran is a theocracy with an aging theocratic-minded population. Iran's youth are largely secular, and that if we don't push Iran to war, their country will become secular within the next decade. It's already secular. Look, we only see when the mullahs attack those women who are doing, who are not wearing their burqa or whatever, right? But I have friends from Iran. Iran they do their hip hop and they do all the same things we do, and they know how to do it without messing with the mullahs or getting into the mullahs' faces. I mean, the rest of the world, the youth of the world, they're doing fine. They're doing fine. Michael Egberto, from the international campaign to abolish war. Israel is estimated to have 90 nuclear weapons, as the country refuses to confirm or deny it has such weapons because they never signed the treaty. Little is known about its arsenal, but experts believe it can launch nuclear weapons using missiles, submarines, aircraft. Israel spent $1.2 million from the United States to do so. I believe that. I believe that. I believe that. I believe that. All right, let's see. Justin, Judge Cannon is in the declassified that has denied the motion filed by Walt Nauta and Carlos attempting to get indictment dismissed. She should. Yes, Iran's people are majority secular, but their power structures are not. I agree. All right. Our first video of the day is on guess whom? All the Republicans who decided that, you know what? We hate Donald Trump a few years ago. We hate Donald Trump a few months ago. But you know what? We better come back into the fold because we're hypocrites, because we are cowards. Check this out. Take it on the other side. What is the price of your soul? When are we going to start holding these Republicans that continue to support Donald Trump, even after they had the most vile truths? Notice that I said the vile truths to talk about Donald Trump. Check this out. It's a great piece done by MSNBC's Morning Joe, and we'll take it on the other side.
Barr is just the latest in a long line of Republicans who found the courage to stand up to Donald Trump, only to then come crawling back again. Take a look.
We're tired of the Donald Trump drama. We want real Republican drama. Donald Trump's not a Republican. We want real Republican drama. If he's off the teleprompter, he can barely keep a cogent thought.
You support him for president even if he's convicted in classified documents. You support him for president even though you believe he contributed to an insurrection. You support him for president even though you believe he's lying about the last election. You support him for president even if he's convicted in the Manhattan case. I just want to say the answer to that is yes, correct?
Yeah, me and 51% of America.
He's a race-baiting, xenophobic, religious bigot. He doesn't represent my party. I'm for Donald Trump because I know what I'm going to get. We need somebody that on day one can get this country back on track. Please help President Trump. If you can afford $5 or $10, if you can't afford $1 fine, just pray. If you got any money to give it.
There is no way we are going to allow a con artist to take over the conservative movement, and Donald Trump is a con artist.
You said it would be an honor to be offered a spot on his ticket. Really?
Yeah, I think anyone who's offered the opportunity to serve this country as vice president should be honored. I think the country and the world was a better place when he was president. And I would love to see him return to the White House.
I think really there's a sophomoric quality that is entertaining about Mr. Trump. But I am worried. I'm very concerned about having him in charge of the nuclear weapons because I think his response, his visceral response to attack people on their appearance, short, tall, fat, ugly. My goodness, that happened in junior high. Are we not way above that? Would we not all be worried to have someone like that in charge of the nuclear arsenal? But I'm proud of the job Donald Trump has done as president. I don't always agree with him, but our occasional policy differences are far outweighed by our significant agreements. But more important than simple agreement is accomplishment. President Trump gets things done.
The president bears responsibility for Wednesday's attack on Congress by mob rioters. He should have immediately denounced the mob when he saw what was unfolding.
Can he count on your support?
Yes.
That's an endorsement.
I will support the president. I will support President Trump.
Would you be willing to serve in a Trump cabinet?
In the right position. Look, if I'm the best person for the job, yes.
I don't want to claim this guy. Donald Trump, if we're going to be honest, is a progressive. He supports eminent domain. He's supported tax increases before. He's donated $300,000 to Democratic candidates. So the fact that the Republican Party is now having to claim him is both unfortunate and, to me, inauthentic.
I want my daughter to grow up in President Donald J. Trump's America.
Oh, my goodness. Kayleigh McEnany there, who became the White House press secretary after all of her criticism. I mean, Jen, Joe and I talk about this a lot, but how those people look themselves in the mirror as their souls escape their bodies through their mouths while they make this conversion. I want to add into, because this all started with Bill Barr. He's been extraordinarily critical of Donald Trump in the last couple of years, calling the attempt to overturn the election a grotesque embarrassment, saying a vote for Donald Trump is like playing Russian roulette with the country. He has been supportive of the DOJ in its pursuit of these trials against Donald Trump, saying there is no weaponization. This is the Department of Justice doing its job. He was impressed by Jack Smith's indictment and famously said, if half of what's true in the indictment in the classified documents case is true, Donald Trump is, quote, toast. And yet here he is saying he's got my vote.
It's amazing. Remember when Donald Trump spoke about little Marco? Remember how he made fun of all these guys? Remember how he disparaged all these guys as soon as they leave, they were a big mistake? He hasn't changed his tone. But who can possibly take Sununu as at his word going forward? Who could possibly take any of these guys at their word? Remember when Mitch McConnell said, let the system take care of Donald Trump? Now he's supporting Donald Trump. It's a shame. It is a shame that these guys put not party over Trump. Not party over country, but Trump over country and party, because there's nothing good that Trump brings to that party. And that is why, even as people continue to say things like, this is going to be a close election, forget that. This is going to be a landslide for anybody not Trump. It's going to be a landslide for the party that's not Trump. It's going to be a landslide for Democrats. I am starting to believe that more and more and more. And, it seems like even though many Democrats are not gloating about that, if you take a look at all the Republicans that are running out of Congress, leaving Congress, and if you look at all the good candidates being placed into good Democratic candidates being placed in Republican districts, I think the Republican slaughter is on the verge. The Republican slaughter is on the verge. Let me see. I think it is so important for folks to know that. Don't worry, Breach. It's just talk. Yep. Anyway, let's see. E2247 says House GOP works $26 billion in weapons to Israel for immediate passage. This is a catastrophe, whether Palestinian or U.S. person living. Let's see what else I had. I had some messages up top that I need to run to. Robert Davenport says, Israel is burning through the remnants of goodwill that guilty Europeans harbor. So when Putin tells his stooges in Congress he doesn't want arms sold to Israel anymore, be ready for the change. That's right. Putin just have to make that change. And then the sycophants will be here in Congress to follow. Michael Radin says, you don't know the Republican game. During the primaries, Republicans are vicious against each other. Soon as a leader is chosen, all of them rally around their choice. They'll double face any previous commentary liars. Indeed, you get it yet. Republicans don't care about any sort of ideological consistency. Republicans only care about attaining power, holding power, and wielding power. Republicans' power is an end unto itself. And I think those statements prove that beyond a side of a doubt. Eric earlier said, shouldn't Iran be embarrassed? My question to you is, shouldn't all those Republican politicians be embarrassed? I am pretty sure they should. Let me tell you what I don't know. I don't know how Cruz goes home to his wife, somebody that Donald Trump pilfered verbally. And to have your husband, instead of protecting your wife, you go home and you say, hi, honey, I am going to be licking Donald Trump's boots today. Okay, I'm sorry that he thinks you're ugly. I'm sorry that he says, look at Melania and look at your wife. I'm so sorry. Guys, it's embarrassing. It is completely embarrassing. Eric says Jeff Bezos saved $600 million by moving to Florida. What an ingrate. He takes all the government money for his companies and doesn't want to pay government taxes, right? All his companies are based on a lot of government grants and our taxpayer dollars. And when it's time for him to pay $1, he runs to a state, a beggar state, to hide his money and not pay. When I talk about these billionaires being parasites, that's what I'm talking about. Eric, our brainwashed brother, good friend Eric, thinks it's a virtue that he saved $600 million by moving to Florida. I look at it as a complete selfish, immoral act. But again, when your mind is enslaved in chains, what can I say? Can't help it, right? Can't help it. All right, listening to them makes one almost puke a little in your mouth. A little bit, Breach? It wants you to throw up everything you've ever eaten. As Melanie Keelan would say, barfy. That's a good one, Melanie. All right, Paul Fleming says, Rolling Stones, the GOP-controlled House Financial Service Committee voted to advance a bill that would repeal the Biden admin rule capping credit card fees at $8. Why? Follow the money. Republicans on committee have received $8 million from the industry groups opposed to rules. I find it amazing how they just let the American people be ripped off by these companies. You know, transfer of wealth sanctioned by our government. And who's our government? That which was paid for by the lobbyists. We can make it different by voting. Our vote is a lot more powerful than the dollars from the lobbyists. But he says the more Republicans do this crap, the more people will vote blue. I love it. Bruce says, don't worry, Paige. It's just talk, and it is. It is. Eric, aside from culture, war, nonsense, and distraction for corruption, resulting in wealthy going to the bank, your party has no policy. Not only that, Donald Trump didn't really get much accomplished. I mean, the one thing he got accomplished is a lot of dead Americans. A tariff, he did that. So, yeah. I want to talk a little bit about tariff, now that I mentioned the word tariff, because I want to hit up Biden on this as well. You know, right now, China is dumping steel on the American market. That's true. They're selling us subsidized steel. And we are, in order to solve the subsidized steel problem, what we as our American government wants to do is to put a tariff on Chinese steel. Okay, let's stop there for a minute. Our government, in order to stop China from dumping steel on our markets, we want the American people, the victims of this dumping, the average American citizen, to pay a tax to the United States Treasury, just like Trump did, to make the steel from China more expensive to you so that you would buy American steel. Why is it we are constantly asking the middle class to pay? The inflation was created by corporations, and to solve that problem, we are asking Americans to pay a higher interest rates on credit cards, car loans, home loans, etc. Why? To slow the market down, to convince the corporatocracy to either stop raising their prices, keep their prices steady, and in some cases lower their prices. There's an alternative. In the case of China throwing their steel onto the market, instead of charging the American people a tax, why not subsidize our steel so that it costs less for an American to buy it? The prices for our steel would drop down. The economic activity would increase because we're keeping the money circulating in the United States, and we get more volume. But no, we don't do that because our system believes you constantly penalize the people who drive the markets, the American people. The same applies with inflation. If the corporations want to create inflation, let them create inflation. Tax it right back out of them and subsidize every American in a progressive-based manner by giving them the money that the corporations are stealing. And that way, you're not telling the corporations how to price things. You're just saying, okay, when we see your corporate profit based on your cost, we are going to tax it back out of you and give it to the American people. Stop penalizing Americans for things corporations and countries do. It's not a difficult thing to think about. But again, we don't do that. We don't do that. All right, let's see. Paul Fleming says the House voted 316 to 94 on to advance Speaker Johnson. Yep, let's see if he lasts. We got the 4 bills that are going to be going through, including one to shut down TikTok. But the TikTok bill won't make it through the Senate. If anybody shuts down TikTok, the election for that party is over. It's that simple. All right, Justin, Judge Merchan confirms opening statements in Trump's New York election will begin on Monday morning. Thank you. Robert Davenport says a real shame is that some progressives think that it is possible to ever reconcile with these MAGA Republic clowns. They have no morals. Robert, work with me here. Work with me. I go and I break bread with some of these, with some MAGA folks. And if you had a sick daughter that you could work with and get better, but just the love for your daughter have you there, I'm sure you'd stick around. I'm not asking everybody to do what I do, but don't throw everybody away. There are different levels of MAGAism, and some levels of MAGAism are redeemable. Michael Radin says, Egberto, that big money corruption affects the whole of the Republican Party as well as half of the Democratic Party. Absolutely. And that's what I want us to understand. This is not just a MAGA problem. Thank you for putting that out there, Radnin. If you want to get big money corruption in the politics, you have to vote the anti-corruption progressives. The primary is where it's all at. Exactly. That's why I was a member for the longest time of the board of Move to Amend. Let's see what else we got. Michael, I have been blocking them. Thank you. I won't deal with them anymore. That's good, Breach. You have to do what I want you here. We want everybody here. We also want folks to do whatever makes them comfortable. Absolutely. Mike Cisak says inflation was created by government. Mike does not understand real economics. He understands capitalist economics as the way it was indoctrinated into us, but he doesn't really understand economics. I may suggest that he talks to Richard Wolff and look up the documentary called Capitalism's Hit the Fan. You'd learn quite a bit reading that or listening to that. Paul Fleming says the Biden administration has finalized new Title IX regulations that codify protection for transgender people, as well as enhanced protection for victims of sexual assault or harassment and pregnant people. Thank you very much, Biden. That's a good thing. Mike Cisak thinks smoke-filled rooms where corporate execs meet don't exist. As it comes to conspiracy, that's the most easy one to understand. I mean, it's not difficult. You're right, Biden. Again, but willful ignorance is in fact willful. Corporations would do anything to make more profit. That's by design. That's what capitalism is. So says Milton Friedman, including colluding to price fixing regional duopolies, even as they screw their customers in the process. I agree. Paul Fleming says the hospitals are so scared of the GOP that they are turning people away during an emergency. She is bleeding a lot and had a miscarriage. Her husband told the first responder in the calls, which was translated from Spanish in federal documents. I'm here at the hospital, but they told us they can't help us because we are not their client. It's a damn shame. All these stories need to be made out. All these stories need to be. Many cannot do what you do, Egberto. I understand, my beautiful Bridge MCP. I can, so I will. Mike Cesek says, Paul Fleming, so the Biden admin has finally made Title X regulations a laughingstock. Now that men can claim to be women, rape women, oh Lord, I'm not reading that. Paul Fleming says, Mike didn't really graduate high school. They just passed him along. Stop it, Paul. Stop it, Paul. All right, what else have we got here? We got Maywood from Long Beach, California says, I seem to be back. Let's see if it keeps working. I command it to continue working. Michael, let's see what else. Eric Hayes says, average student loan. I'm not reading that one because that's superfluous. Robert Davenport says, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Egberto, some old saying have stuck around because they're true, despite the naive good intentions of those fooled twice. I don't get fooled at all with these folks, Davenport. That's not the idea. It's not about being fooled for the way I approach it. We'll talk another time. In fact, when I come to California, you and I are going for some coffee. Is that all right with you? By the way, what town are you in again, brother? I got to take you out to coffee, man. Bridge MCP says, Egberto, this is what's happening to me right now. I cannot get my meds and might end up in the hospital from what? Drug shortages threaten patients. How pharma can build supply chain resilience. Here's the deal. I haven't read that article yet, but this just proves that the private sector is a failure, right? They want to create false shortages, Bridge, because we're coming against the big pharma. They want to create shortages. That's the biggest fraud. It's like what they do with oil. We never had an oil shortage. They create fraud. But that's where Los Angeles. Oh, great. When I come to California the next time, Robert, a conference or whatever, we gonna meet. I got to meet my brother in El Vivo. In El Vivo. All right, let's see. Love PDR name calling, real big of you all. It's not name calling. I mean, think about. I tell you what, Eric. Look through the wordology that you are using. Look at what you're saying. Please do. All right, and you see why certain people respond the way they do. Again. British MCP says small pharmacies can't get them, but are charging huge prices if not covered. Yeah. British, I bet there's a place where you can find your drugs. Mexico, Canada. So you live in New York and you live pretty darn close to Canada. I would go take a little small, I would get a bed and breakfast in Canada and go spend a couple days. Or call, there are people who have this stuff where, what we used to do is in my old, when I just got into activism, right? We were in Move to Amend. And Move to Amend, we weren't collecting enough donations for our bi-yearly meetings. So we used to do what's called sofa drive. What is it called? In effect, it's crashing on other people's sofa. Toronto is nice. Yeah, and the food is good from what I understand. And what we used to do, Bridge, is there was a network, and I don't remember how to get to that network now. And what we would do is we would put in a request, and people would open up their homes, and we would crash in their extra rooms. They will say, like, I have a place for 4 people. I have a place. These were mostly older folks that had room, right? Their kids are gone. And they would say, like, I have room for 4. I have room for 5. So we went to not Portland, Oregon. This time we went to, what's the place where the University of Oregon is? Not Portland, but the other one, the other relatively large town in Oregon. We went there and we crashed in about 7 or 8 different people's couch surfing. That's what it's called, couch surfing. We slept in about 4 or 5 different people's homes. And we had, one of the persons had a big enough home where we'll actually do all the planning and all of that for Move to Amend. And we actually got a lot done. In fact, we got senators and Congress people to support the bill that we wrote. So, afterwards, we started to collect enough money that we could rent a house. And what we would do is we'd rent a big home, 5 bedrooms, 6 bedrooms. and we'll all stay there and we'll lock ourselves in that room. We'll go buy groceries. We would cook together, eat together, and do everything together as we're debating how to best approach the 28th Amendment, which is what we were working on. Money is not speech, money is not speech, and corporations are not people. And it was some crazy times, you know. And I mean, when I turned around to go full activism, it was it was a new lifestyle. I was accustomed to doing things a different way. You know, it's amazing how you start here, you go up in life, and then you throw yourself back down because of your commitments. It was amazing. All right. Mike Cisak says, Chairman Ben Bernanke, the Fed created the great inflation during COVID-19. Why would I care what Bernanke says when he is a function of an economic system that's a failure? Why would I listen to him saying inflation was caused by the great overspending? And why would I do that? This is their created economic system that's a failure. You know who have a good economic system? Ants. All right. Ants have a very good economic system. Even during floods, it works. And it's called unity. But anyway, Robert Davenport said, Eric Hayes, have you ever used words Marxist or socialist in the PDR chat? All of the times. Do you apply your comments to your own? I mean, that's a problem a lot of time with our right-wing brothers and sisters. They dole out words, and whenever we use truthful words, they call it an attack. But anyway, let's go ahead and go to my last video of the day. I think you're gonna like this one as well. It's Katie Phang and abortion. Katie Phang does not pull any punches. She's now first in the Georgia case. She really came on in the defense of Fani Willis, as she should, based on what they did to Fani Willis back in Georgia. Today, or recently, she's talking about abortion and what occurred in Arizona, going back to 1864, putting women back in their places. You know how these people think. Well, she was having none of it. And I'm really glad in the way she spoke about it as a journalist, to let folks really understand what exactly these troglodytes and their sycophants and Trump sycophants are doing in Arizona. We're not talking about rank and file, folks. We're talking about the leadership who are going completely against the vast majority of what Americans say that they want. Take a listen to this, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Stripping women of their rights to life-saving health care using a draconian law. Think about it. 160 years ago, when this law was originally enacted, Arizona was a territory. Women had no power. And Vice President Harris, she would have been a slave. According to the Guttmacher Institute, an estimated 18 million women do not have abortion access in their state. But here's the thing. This isn't 1864. It's 2024. Women wield power. They hold office. And when they speak out, they are heard. Like Arizona State Senator Eva Burch, who shared her personal abortion story this week with a stirring reminder that the real power is in the ballot.
A couple weeks ago, I had an abortion, a safe, legal abortion here in Arizona for a pregnancy that I very much wanted. A pregnancy that failed, like many of my pregnancies before it. An embryo that was dying and a miscarriage that was destined to happen. Somebody took care of me. Somebody gave me a procedure so that I wouldn't have to experience another miscarriage, the pain, the mess, the discomfort. And now we're talking about whether or not we should put that doctor in jail. This is outrageous that we would even dignify the consideration of this type of ban. A ban drafted when women had no say, when Arizona was not a state. This isn't what the people of Arizona or the people of this country want. We're talking about a small number of really extreme political leaders calling the shots for everybody else. Republicans don't want this. Independents don't want this. Democrats don't want this. We have to look at who our elected leaders are. The time is now. It's done. I've had enough. The people of Arizona have had enough. We are electing pro-choice candidates in November. Watch it happen.
Joining us now is Arizona Democratic State Senator Eva Burch. Senator, there really is nothing that I can say to follow up after you delivered that incredibly heartfelt, such raw emotion, because it is something that is so intimate and personal to you. But I'm going to offer a small correction to what you said. Republicans did want this. They wanted this. The Republicans wanted this, but now it is squarely the dog with its teeth firmly on the bumper of that car. They have caught the car. So now they want to backpedal like Carrie Lake and pretend like this is so outrageous and this is not what they intended it to be. How do we hold them accountable for them wanting Trump being the architect of the fall of Roe and the Republicans being responsible for you having to stand in front of the world and say and explain what happened to you?
Katie Phang nailed it. And I like the way Katie Phang actually corrected Eva Burch, the Democratic senator who had to have an abortion. Because while the senator said Republicans don't want this, Democrats don't want this, independents don't want this, she wanted to make it clear that no, there is a party who wants it. And you know why they want it? Because they support it. They support it for their Führer. They're supporting these policies because those people, the evangelicals who support their Führer, Donald Trump, is what they want. So don't be fooled. Don't be fooled that Donald Trump is trying to walk it back. Don't be fooled that Carrie Lake is trying to walk it back. Don't be fooled that all these people that finally realize that no, 60-something to 70-something to 80-something% of Americans say no to this. And don't be fooled into giving these people a break, a permission to vote against your own interests. Act, react, and react.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number 1, subscribe to our channel. And number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.
Absolutely join. Absolutely join. Absolutely join. Well, folks, we're at 52. Anybody wants to call in, give me a call, 281-823-7747. Again, that number is 281-823-7747. Una vez más, 281. Let me start over. 281-823-7747. Love to hear from anybody to close out the week. Anything that you want to say, just go ahead and let me hear it. Eric, stop it. You're a grown guy. You're a macho man. There's no bullying that I saw going on in here. Most of the bullying that I find in here is generally on one side. Come on now. Come on, stop it. Everybody's respectful with you and everybody else. Now, you actually bring some interesting things out here. To my beautiful, beautiful Bridge MCP. Talk to me, sis.
Hey, you. I just want to say one thing. First, Eric, shut up. Besides that, any man in this room, any man in this country, I'll just talk about the video chats and stuff. Shut up. If you are a man, shut up. This has nothing to do with you. Nothing. For 10, 15 seconds, you think you created a child. You probably do that about 5 times a day and don't create a child. So you're a murderer, okay? That's what you call women, a murderer. So are you. So my point is, why don't we enact a law? It's very easy. All boys, when they become of puberty age, get a vasectomy. Now, how do you like that? How many men would be outraged by that? 1, 2, or all of them?
All.
Pretty much a lot. And when they came out with when they turned against Roe versus Wade, many good men who are not insecure like a lot of these right-wingers here on this chat got vasectomies. They're reversible. You don't have to do anything. They're not taking any drugs or pills or going through all the things that women have to go through emotionally to carry a child. So for the men in the room, shut up. No, you shut up, Eric. Just like really. You're like a dog with the bone, which is what Rudden always called you. And now I see you for who you are. So anybody who's a man, it's not your choice. Enough of calling women murderers. You go through it. My friend had 3 abortions when she moved to this farm area, not knowing that when they were doing the crop dusting, that was affecting her child, who had no legs, no brain, no heart. And she had to get an abortion each time before they figured out what was wrong. Do you want to call her a murderer? She had to go to a psychiatrist for 5 years for what that did to her. So these guys that are saying this, they have no clue. They think they're essential to the species. They did studies in Germany, in the 80s, that found that the women could get pregnant without a man, but that they would only have a female. Now imagine if we started doing that and just get rid of all y'all men.
Please don't, Breach. I'm one of the nice ones, Breach. No, but let's
I know we won't do it. We don't do it.
Let's get it clear.
That's all I had to say.
No, don't leave yet, though. I want you on for a bit because I want to tell you, first of all, Breach, as a man, I don't have the right to force you to have something that's dependent on your body, on what to do with it. I can't tell you not to cut a finger off. I can't tell you not to cut your hair off. All of those are cells. Well, not the hair, but all these other things are cells. I can't tell you that. It's not my right until a baby is birthed and become its own independent entity. It's not only men that need to shut up, but it's also women who've fallen into the trap of being enslaved by these men that also need to shut up. So you're actually very right about that. And thank you for bringing that message.
Yeah, it was more like a rant, but yes.
Actually, it is a message. Thank you very much, Breach.
Okay. Have a good weekend, everybody.
You too, my friend. All right. I can take one more call. Anybody else wants to call in? Number 281-823-7747. There's some cringy commentary in the chat right now from a few guys that got triggered into demonstrate. And you know what? You don't have to address it, Michael. You don't have to address it, Breach. Because like I said, those of us who care about other people, those of us who care about the quality of your life, those of us who don't have to control you to be who we are, that's what it's all about. Right? Bridge is schooling them. Hey, Ray. Yeah, look, I love all my people in the chat, but we need to make sure that folks stay informed. And not only that none of you back down, folks that have morality on your side. Don't ever back down. I repeat, don't ever back down. Robert Davenport, Breeze MCP is right as usual. And thank you for that super chat, brother Robert. Couldn't do this without all of my brothers and sisters out here who contribute to make sure we can continue doing this. Now, folks, we're coming to the end of the program. I want to ask you all to support the program like Robert just gave us a super chat, everybody who can. There are many ways to support the program, however. You can actually support the program by becoming, all the ways to support the program can be found at politicsdoneright.com/support. I'm going to put that link in the chat. politicsandright.com/support. Gives you all the different ways you can support the program. But alternatively, you can go to politicsandright.com/Patreon. I need some patrons. So please consider becoming a patron, politicsandright.com/Patreon. Also, you can become a paid subscriber of our newsletter. These are all different ways to support us. A paid subscriber of our newsletter can be gotten at politicsandright.com/newsletter, politicsandright.com/newsletter. I sent out a newsletter this morning and said, hey guys, can you give me 32 of you this week? Can I get 32 people this week? I'm still trying to get beyond 100. Can you give me 32 people that comes and sign up to the newsletter? And, you know, it's a coffee, it's a coffee. Think about it, a coffee. I know if you saw me once a month, you say, you know what, Egberto, have a coffee. Have a coffee. You know what, Politics Done Right? Have a coffee. Have a coffee, right? It's not, I know in order to do what we're doing, which is important work, you would. So go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter and become a paid subscriber. Another way to support us is going to politicsdoneright.com/books and getting one of our books. And what are our books? Tribulations of an Afro-Latino Caribbean Man. That's my latest book. As I see it, Class Warfare, the Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom. My other book is How to Make America Utopia, Take Away the Economy from Those Who Rigged It. And my next book, It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relative, Friends, and Neighbors. And of course, my weight loss book that I'm putting into action again because I put on like 10, 15 pounds. You know, not working out, not eating exactly the right way. But again, it's important that we get supported. So please consider supporting the show. And again, please become a paid subscriber of our newsletter, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. I got to get out of here. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number 1, subscribe to our channel, and number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.